Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here,
And BlueDragonFive.
and welcome to the Main Street Cinema, the show where we discuss the finer points of filmmaking. Tonight, Blue Dragon 5 and I have seen the latest, the greatest, arguably one of the most hyped up of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, Black Panther. And man, oh man, of course, this movie is directed by Ryan Coogler of Creed fame. It stars Michael B. Jordan as the villain of the piece, alongside Chadwick Boseman as our hero. And Dragon, this is, let me just say this, like, kind of going into it, I didn't have much history with Black Panther. As you kind of know, Dragon, my main history with Black Panther is kind of stems from the sequel to the animated Avengers movie, I believe it was, that was all focused on Black Panther.
Yep.
But other than that, I was kind of lost on the character. That served as sort of a tertiary introduction to him. I was always sold on this project based on Ryan Coogler, Dragon, and Ryan Coogler to me kind of carried this project through. So I feel like this is a Marvel movie that I need to rewatch, and not in a negative way or anything, but I feel like this movie coming out of the theater, there's so many things that this movie does differently from a typical Marvel movie. While it does have humor, it doesn't have the mile a minute, like, joke that, something like Thor Ragnarok had. While it has action, it's just as interested in telling a story about legacy and telling a story about thought-provoking characters. It's got incredible world building, unlike anything we've seen in the MCU so far. And most importantly, Dragon, the thing that really stood out to me, this might be the best score in the MCU. I love the score for this movie.
Well, it definitely has some tracks I want to go back and listen to because I was kind of swept up into it. I didn't really, I know the music was good. I just didn't quite get to suck it in as much.
So here's where I'm coming down on the movie. I don't necessarily think it's a quintessential Marvel movie in the same way something like Guardians or the Avengers is. But at the same time, I don't think it's trying to be a quintessential Marvel movie. I think it's trying to be a subversion of Marvel movies. I think it's trying to be the most artistic and the most auteur of Marvel Cinematic Universe that we've seen so far. And Dragon, by God, I think Ryan Coogler achieved at least that much. I gotta say, I saw this with my dad. My dad wasn't so much a fan, and I'm sorry, folks, don't call my dad a racist, all right? He just likes what he likes, and he wasn't so much drawn into this one because it didn't have the the snappy action and witty banter and everything that a typical, like, Thor Ragnarok style Marvel movie would have. And so, Dragon, this is very much a bold new direction for the MCU. I really do think this, dare I say, this movie's a bit of a game changer in terms of the tone for a comic book movie, in terms of, like, even though this is a little bit more straightforward than something like Guardians of the Galaxy in terms of calling itself a superhero movie, I feel like this movie is way more, it muddies the waters. It kind of muddies the lines of being a superhero movie more so than something like Guardians does, because it's about so much more than just the title superhero. It's Dragon, the best way I can put this without getting into spoilers is if Jon Favreau's Lion King wasn't a thing, this would be the closest thing we would have to a live action Lion King. I don't know. Yeah, so as you can tell, Dragon, I'm kind of all over the place on this one. But pretty much like 90% of my thoughts are definitely aimed in the positive direction.
All right. Well, my expectations going in, of course, we've definitely been building this one up. We've definitely been hyping this one up. Going into this, I'm pretty much expecting, very much people have equated it to, to basically being Wonder Woman for Black people being represented as, Wonder Woman had women represented on screen through, basically having a hero to identity that reflects their demographic.
Okay, Drake, can I just stop you right now and say I think the women in this film kick so, like, with all due respect to Gal Gadot, all right, with all due respect to Gal Gadot, My God, the women in this film kick so much ass.
Well, yeah.
The women in this film, it's just like a triathlon of ass kickery.
Yes, we do have an amazing number. We're not really going to break down characters here, folks. Let's just say we have a number of great female characters within this film that I believe. I really want to talk about a few of them, but we're not going to spend too much time on that. But yeah. So again, basically, a lot of people are kind of going to saying, okay, this is going to be kind of the Wonder Woman for for black people being represented on film through a hero. Where traditionally we have like our Batmans and our Supermans and our Wonder Womans to be kind of represent everyone. Yeah, again, short of Luke Cage or what we now have Black Lightning on TV, it hadn't really been done before on the big screen. I'm not saying we haven't had black characters in prominent roles like Blade, of course, but this is a big, and again, the first black hero ever. Black Panther is a biggie. So what I kind of went into this movie with, less Wonder Woman, more kind of Christopher Reeve Superman. Kind of, this is like a big event. That's kind of was kind of going. That was the mentality I was going with. I wasn't expecting like to be necessarily, kind of the '70s mentality, Christopher Reeve Superman. But I was definitely expecting something big like that. I was expecting something.
Right.
I think there's definitely the hype. It kind of, I believe Chadwick Boseman. I was reading like a brief interview or something with him, where he basically kind of coined the phrase. It's like it's kind of the film is taking on a life of its own. Where it's
yeah.
It's like become a movement of some kind. It's again, Black Panther is like, again, like you walk down the street, people saying, "Hey, you seen Black Panther?" Yeah. And so Black Panther is
Wakanda Forever is going to be something that people like scrawl on like subway stations.
It's funny. I didn't wear it today, but I do have a shirt that says, I have two Black Panther shirts, and the other one says Wakanda Forever, because I was dying for a shirt that said Wakanda on it, because I love Wakanda. Anyway, so Black Panther, it was always, for me, he's always been an intriguing character. Whenever I've seen, I want to know more about that guy. Oh my God, he's a king, he's code and vibranium, but it's like when it dawns on you, like you first see, okay, it's cool, he's cool character, he's dressed really neat, and then you realize, oh my God, he's where head to toe he's coated in vibranium. He's a walking Captain America shield. That's awesome. Then of course you get to the history and you realize, oh my God, it's the birthplace of it, man. That's astonishing. And the more basically you go down the treasure trove and you find out more cool things about Black Panther. Of course, I loved him in Civil War. That was, again, I had also with you guys seen him in.
Civil War was a lot more simple for him, though. Civil War, Black Panther was a guy on a revenge mission.
Yes, but it was a great kind of. It's kind of very much. Yes, the comparison be it's very much how in Jessica Jones we have Luke Cage, kind of. He's introduced in that, and he is also on a revenge mission. Interestingly enough, he's very much like he's not the Luke Cage that we know and love today, but it's still a good sampling of like things we know about Luke Cage. In this case, it was things we know about Black Panther, and again, it was like a kind of a sousant of Wakanda and like a taste of things to come. And again, him and Everett Ross, it was a good sampling of like a good step into the world of Wakanda and Black Panther. And I loved him. A lot of my favorite scenes, aside from everyone's favorite, the airport scene, it was definitely scenes involving Black Panther in Civil War. Of course, my favorite go-to is like the ending of Act 1, where Cap, to save Bucky, he tackles Black Panther and he flips him with this. They reach like out of a deadlock before War Machine kind of breaks up. Okay, Cap, you're a criminal now. Bum bum bum.
Yeah.
So and of course, recently what I did, and here's the thing, I was. Actually, there was a fun little Black Panther plot hole in Civil War that was solved upon my discovery of this. Is that not an issue for me, but I'm saying an issue a lot of people keep bringing up to me when I talk to them about Civil War. I was watching Death Battle. Death Battle did a Black Panther versus Batman fight, and what they do, and the big reason I watch Death Battle is they gonna go through the character's history. They give like a listing of their. Basically, it's kind of like a summation of their history, their abilities, and everything. It's really in-depth. It's really well done. And I learned some things about Black Panther. Black Panther does technically have powers. And without giving too much away, we see it very accurately. The movie is very accurate to the books and to the story of Black Panther, where, again, a lot of like Black Panther does.
The movie is kind of like the Doctor Doom, like super secret country that we've always wanted to see, but just from the hero's perspective.
Yeah, and again, I think I'm pretty sure I've told you, because again, I always hit you with that Doctor Doom pitch for the Fantastic Four, the MCU movie I always wanted to see, and then I hit you with thing hit you with that theory that I kind of had that epiphany that Black Panther is sort of like, Doctor Doom is like the evil version of Black Panther,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah, right.
Like Black Panther gone wrong, where instead of like being looked at as like, oh my god, we want in on Wakanda, we look at Latveria as North Korea, like a North Korean, a Wakanda that has the PR nightmare of being looked at by the world as North Korea. That's always been my hopeful take on Latveria if they ever were to do it in the MCU. The point is, we have a character who's a king and like who rules, rules a nation. And anyway, so with Death Battles, I kind of learned that Black Panther does technically have some powers, and the Panther gimmick goes deeper beyond a costume and a mantle of honor. It does actually have some vaguely supernatural illusions that basically grant it solves the age-old thing in Civil War, like how can he run so fast? And of course, we learned, because essentially has the abilities of a panther, and that's awesome. So I went into this like with that death battle. I learned a lot more about Black Panther than I knew, because I never knew he had powers. So, I mean, I went into okay. There's basically that was like the highest my bar was of like things I was expecting in the movie. Okay, let's see if they get all this extra stuff right that I've kind of learned about from the comics and stuff. And so I'm in the movie, and also it's kind of serendipitous. I've been having a ridiculously good luck today.
Have you?
I have, and I had this
One of us.
bizarrely. Huh?
Oh, I just said that makes one of us.
Yeah, I had this bizarrely poetic, well, not poetic. I had this bizarrely nice Black Panther related experience. It's like the stars aligned, because like all my stuff I was fearing would go wrong did not go wrong today. So I call that good luck. And I was wearing my Black Panther shirt, and I had like this nice little kind of new shirt I got with it. The point is, I was at my. Oh man, I just realized I'm gonna make Tiki. Well, no, I don't want to. Anyway, the point is, I ran into. It was at my office job, if you will, and there was a kid that was kind of entertaining in the in the reception area, if you will. Mother, kid, that sort of thing. Like, well, mother's taking care of business with the boss man. I'm just kind of like chit chatting with the kid who's a Marvel fan. I have Civil War is on because I watched Civil War today to kind of for a final time get all hyped up for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of catch up, make sure it's like nothing forgetting, like okay, like any little hints of what's to come in the movie, the big movie. And the kid, there was a young black kid, and he was he was very excited, like he's gonna as advertised, Black Panther comes out Friday. For most, and he and his father, they got tickets in advance. They're looking very forward to Black Panther. And again, he had never, oddly enough, the kid had never seen, Civil War. And, we're having a great conversation as the movie's going on. And again, the point is, this kid I was so delighted to learn, how excited this kid was for Black Panther, and how into the MCU and the Marvel movies he was. And just again, like, but with that interaction I had with that kid today, and then when I was at the theater, I had this kind of this. It was expected by all means, but I just kind of realized, all these, it was surrounded, and I mean that in a negative way. I'm saying I noticed more than I usually see. There was a number of black people there, and they were all very, very excited and very positive about Black Panther.
My experience with this too, because I have a very personal experience related to this too. So remind me.
Sure, and that's what I'm saying. Like I was just kind of had this epiphany, kind of before, after, maybe a little bit during the movie, and mainly, especially afterwards, where I'm coming out of the theater and I see, like the whole again, the theater was packed and every seat was sold out. Like there was a packed house, and like people coming in for the next showing, and it was like they looked around me. It was all very excited black people of all ages, shapes, and sizes, coming in to see the movie, and they're very excited. They're kind of murmuring to themselves like, "Oh boy, I can't wait to see this." And it was like, man, I was like remarking to my friends, "Yeah, it's so great to see." Again, I was thinking kind of the Mark Bernard experience from Fat Man on Batman. Now that character is representing that demographic, and that's wonderful. Everyone's having kind of a Christopher Reeve Superman experience from like '78. That's so nice.
So, Dragon, my similar experience, of course, I live in the Bay Area. Dragon, I hope you were thinking of me when a lot of the big centerpieces of this movie took place in Oakland.
No, I wasn't. I was thinking of other things, but stuff we'll talk about when you do this.
But I have brought up Oakland several times. I don't live in Oakland, but I am close to Oakland. I'm kind of familiar with the culture of Oakland. And Dragon, let's just say the theater that I was in, they were very much in tune with like, that's our Oakland, god damn it. You know what I mean? There was definitely a really cool kind of local like hometown pride when when it comes to Oakland is portrayed in this movie.
I know it sounds strange, folks. Movies set predominantly in Wakanda, and you're here in Oakland. But don't worry, folks. It's in the movie. It's explained. You'll enjoy it.
Honestly, the only reason I'm not worried about it is a spoiler is because it comes so early on. So
right.
Anyways, Dragon, there are a few characters I want to bring up. 3 in particular, right?
Real quick, I just want to go to my very brief reaction.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So again, it was a packed house. Universally, my friends and I, we were geeking out, and just everybody you could feel in the air, everyone's in tune with the film, and everyone's invested, and everyone's having a good time. It's a great old grand experience, and again, I walked out very happy with the movie, and it lived up to my expectations. It was everything. I think it lived up to the hype, so I thought it was good.
I mean, I definitely think it lived up to the hype. However, that being said, I don't think it's a traditional Marvel movie.
I look with the whole
like I said, for that reason, I think that people like my dad, who, no offense to my dad, he's a very surface level Marvel fan. He's what we in the business would call a casual fan. So,
a casualty of Marvel.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah, well,
I do think this is among the most well-made movies in the Marvel canon, and I definitely think it's Dragon. I think far and away this is the most auteur movie in the Marvel canon. This is the one, the one where they really let the director have free reign over it.
So speaking of your auteur statement, I agree with you on that because it does feel very much. I would agree it does feel the most auteur out of all the MCU films, because before that, I think the most auteur we probably had was James Gunn, but even that you could look at the first
James Gunn, yeah.
But even you could look at James Gunn. You got to remember the first Guardians, and I love it. I still love it more than the second one. The second one's great, but I'm just saying the first movie you definitely see the Marvel skeleton around Guardians, but still James Gunn making that film as much as he can. And of course, the second one is all James Gunn.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, this one definitely feels like the most successful. Like, this is Coogler all over the place, man. Again, Coogler's even got his good luck charm in there. He's got good old Michael B. Jordan.
Okay, so speaking of Michael B. Jordan, of course we won't be getting into too much detail at all. We'll be saving all the major stuff for the spoiler cast. But Drago, without giving anything away or describing his character, Michael B. Jordan, he lives up to the hype. He's one of the best villains in the MCU.
He is, and I'll say this much, all right, with Jordan, I think the reason that is Tiki. I think the reason he's a really good contender for, he's in the pantheon of the good Marvel villains, where I think he's a villain who complements the film in all the ways he should. So he feels like not a villain for just doing a villain's sake. He feels like a villain that is, he's pivotal to the story and the events of the story.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, he's very, he's very much kind of, it's not about sort of like a big bad guy blowing up the world by any stretch. It's all about kind of the personal vendetta that we get in the movie.
It's about the motivations in question and kind of the underlining larger kind of implications that those personal motivations bring out.
Mm-hmm.
For me, just to give a shout out to my favorite character in this movie, and there are a lot of great ones, folks. There are, but honestly, the more I'm thinking about it, I've seen it, tonight for the first time. So again, I know it might change, but I'm head over heels for Shuri. I love Shuri.
Shuri is, I think Shuri is going to be everyone's fan favorite.
I am head over heels for Shuri in many ways. I gotta tell you, I think I love her character. I love she's the sister who essentially is the Lucius Fox.
Be the new Iron Man.
Oh my, yeah! In this, with the comics, how we have the teen girl. Bear in mind, of course, she's in her 20s, but regardless, I'm just saying, yes, she is. I think she's fantastic, and I love all the gadgetry she develops. She's got a good rapport with him.
I was thinking about you when her character was there. It kind of reminded me of like a more mature version of Dexter's Lab with all the gadgets.
I gotta tell you though, I don't know what Letitia, I believe that's Letitia Wright. She's the actress who does Sure. I gotta tell you, I mean, she has such likability, and I gotta tell you, I don't know what it is. I think it's the gadgetry. I don't know, from a fictional with the character she brings life. I gotta have kind of a crush on the character. I gotta say,
I hear you. I hear
she's
you.
really, she's just really cute and peppy, and again, she does all this gadgetry. I drool over like, oh my god, all the vibranium possibilities. Oh, so I mean,
Dragon, the other character I want to spotlight, and this was to me the biggest surprise of the movie, and
there was no bum character, by the way. I think they were all great.
yeah, and I won't say anything more other than the fact that you'll be surprised with how likable this guy is in the movie. Martin Freeman is Everett Ross.
He's probably my second favorite next to Shuri. I gotta tell you,
Dragon. He's like I said. I'm trying to tiptoe. I don't want to give anything away about his arc in the movie, but I was. Let's just say, compared to the trailers, I was very surprised with how prominent his role was.
Sure.
So, all right.
And also, just to give them a name, just to kind of give it a shout out, what the name is for again our strong female characters, and they all do belong to this group, by the way. The exception of Shuri. Shuri's just she's on the side because the Dore Milaje. The Dore Milaje is the group of bodyguard warriors to the king who are also the wives in training.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to give them a shout out there. Okay.
All right. Any final thoughts, Dragon?
Yeah, let's see if we can just hit some kind of bullet points. I like kind of crazy bullet points here. So I'm very impressed by the writing, Coogler and Joe Robert Cole did on this thing. And also, I heard Donald Glover. I heard he had some insights here. I don't know how much. There are scenes I want to speculate that he wrote for this, but again, I don't want to give anything away, and also I can't speak with autonomy on that. But regardless, that's the thing with the auteur thing you're saying, and I see that completely, Tiki, but I feel more of it in the writing. It just feels like such a tight-knit, it feels like such a well-written film, and there are things I could point out that they do that is similar to other Marvel films, but I think it's done in such a way that it's referential to another Marvel film, and they do that strategically, and I think that was a smart call. We'll get into the specifics. I have to be a little cryptic now, folks. It's a really big part of the movie. Again, I love the Wakanda technology and Shuri. We utilize our bad guys who we know from the market, Michael B. Jordan and Claw. We use Claw very well.
Yes, that's all we'll say.
Yep. I have a few gripes that do not hurt the film at all. They are gripes, though, and there are things I will bring up at a later point. But yeah, nothing that hurts the film at all.
There is one kind of semi-major pacing thing that happens towards the second half of the film. I felt was a little wonky, but of course it kind of involves a major spoiler, so I won't get into it.
I guess the last thing I really say, just to kind of give a tease, is that again, I think Boseman's, Chadwick Boseman's performance on T'Challa was great. We got to see the evolution. I love the setting, and I love how we get to see how someone realistically being kind of thrust into that position, because again, he was touting off that he was now king of Wakanda, but again, you're just kind of speaking to the eventuality. We get to see kind of these stresses of becoming king and kind of all the responsibilities you take on as the warrior and as the king, but also the son who's taking over the father that you feel you failed to save. So I mean, there's a lot of interesting layers, and again, I think he played it right, and I think he represented that character so well. And again, it just felt like it felt like it wasn't just like, hey, let's just take everyone back to the woodshed on what, in case anyone just got amnesia of like, hey, remember what you felt about Black Panther? Here's just more of that. No, it's like here's the evolution of Black Panther getting to the point that we recognize. Again, very similar to, in the best of ways, similar to like a Luke Cage arc of like the reluctant hero arc. In this case, it's the man who would be king arc.
Yeah, and like I said, that does kind of draw some obvious parallels to the Lion King Dragon in some regards, but
well, I mean, yeah, but there's definitely a few Lion King gags in this. There are not intentional gags. I'm just saying, like,
I don't think they're gags. I just think it's kind of like it's hard to avoid kind of Lion King story beats with something like this.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, if I were a kid, I'll bet if I were a kid and I were shown this instead of the Lion King, I don't know. I think I'd be going. I don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot of cool stuff in this,
Yeah, and I think a lot of cool stuff is right, Dragon. I think that kind of sums it up. This movie's got a lot going for it. It's got fantastic performances all the way around, really sharpening characters, just a bevy of really kick-ass female characters, which is, of course, great to see in today's landscape. I think the world building is really, really on point. I think the gadgets are incredible. Dragon, I think I might be a fan of the music more than you are, because the music really was the driving force of this film for me. I got really into the percussion and everything.
No, man, I love the use. I love how, like, themes tracked with certain characters and how it kind of influenced, like, the vibe of the scene. I like that. I'm just saying I can't quite nail down tracks because I'm just taking in so much of the Wakanda goodness at the moment.
Sure. This is definitely a movie I need to see again, because there's so much going on. There's so much world building happening in every scene. There's, the plot is very much filled with political intrigue. So you sort of want to have that going for you as well. You really need to kind of look into the bigger picture of the plot. And like I said, overall, I have my doubts about this appealing to, I don't want to say the lowest common denominator Marvel fans, but kind of the casual Marvel fans. Because it is a bold movie. You know what I mean? It is like I could see someone walking away from this liking it but not loving it, because it's bold. It's tonally, while it has fun moments, I think tonally it's much closer to something like The Incredible Hulk than something like Thor Ragnarok. You know what I mean?
My comparison for it, I think, would be, because it's very much kind of been almost like kind of a pocket sect of the MCU. It feels kind of like a cross between kind of a triad here, where it feels very much like kind of an Ant-Man and a Doctor Strange, but with Coogler being kind of the sorter of the mix. Basically, like, he's directing. Well, obviously he's directing, but like he's kind of like constructing the fusion here of kind of like some of the drama and kind of the drama and kind of the otherworldly kind of exploration of a Doctor Strange, but with kind of that. If Ant-Man's rewatchable, this thing feels like more of a smarter kind of a smarter kind of piece with a statement sort of version of Ant-Man. Where Ant-Man's like, I could rewatch it all the live long day. Where in this case, it's something. Again, it just feels like kind of like a smart cross between an Ant-Man and a Doctor Strange, but again with a purpose that Coogler is kind of divined for the film.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, we will be joining Pie on My Cake for a special spoiler cast on Sunday. It's official that Pie will be joining us for that, Dragon.
All right.
Yeah.
I can afford it.
A lot to get into with this movie. I feel like we're literally kind of scratching our claws at the surface of this. Yeah, pun intended.
That was cute. I like that.
Yeah, Dre, do you have any fun claw quotes to end out on?
Claw, no, but get that man a shield.
Yes. All right. Okay, folks. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.